Got dreams of being a professional podcaster, but have no idea what you're doing?
This is impossible.
That's about to change.
A new kind of school.
Welcome to the Pod School Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the show. Today I'm going to be talking about your ideal listener. This is something that you need to think about even when you have not got a show yet. When you are first starting out, it is very, very important that you think about who your show is for so that when you are actually putting the content together and making the show, you make the right content decisions. Obviously, when you have not got a show yet and you don't know who is subscribing and you can't send a little email to people and say, hey, tell me about yourself, you have to, while this may sound ridiculous, make it up. Literally sit down with a pen and paper and list off who your ideal listener is. You can give them a name if you want to, but you should go through and think about everything in their life. What age are they? What career aspirations do they have? Do they have a family? Are they time poor? These kind of things, really fleshing an idea of this imaginary person out, will help you make decisions as you're going along and building this show. If you don't know who the heck you're making it for, then most of the content decisions you're probably likely to make will be content decisions for you, and you are not the audience, especially if you are somebody who has expertise and you're sharing that expertise on your show. You are the opposite of who your audience is. So it's really very important to get a sense of that person so that when you're coming up with decisions about the length of your show or what kind of content to do, you put everything through the filter of this imaginary person. If my ideal listener is a mum of 3 who works 2 jobs and is really time poor, then when I'm sitting down and thinking about how long my show should be, if I don't have an idea of her and who she is, I'll probably just yap till the cows come home. I'll just talk and do my content and not really think that much about the person on the other end receiving it. But if I know that this person is time poor, she's got kids, she's racing around left, right and centre, then in my mind I'll probably think, well, maybe I should just do a 10-minute episode. Maybe this person doesn't have enough time to listen to a longer show, so I should try and develop a show that is really quick and easily digestible. So maybe that's going to affect the way that you build out those episodes. If you know that about your listener, even if they don't necessarily exist yet, you'll be able to structure a show that when they do find it, they will think, oh my God, this show has been made just for me. And that's what you want to find, those listeners who are looking for content just like yours. So in those early days, while it might be weird, you got to do the Kevin Costner approach. Build it and they will come. Think about who that person is that you want to appeal to and really build the show for them. Have that idea of who they are in your mind when you are thinking about everything. The artwork, the length of your show, what content you put in there, what kind of guests you get on the show. If you're doing a show for travelers and, you know, you've played out in your mind the idea of this traveler who's spending a lot of time on transport going from one thing to the next, well, then you might be able to create a 2-hour episode for every long bus ride that they have. But you won't be able to make those decisions in the early days unless you have some kind of idea of who the person that you hope will be listening to this show is. Yes, it may be a little weird and you might think it's a bit woo-woo or a bit The Secret or a bit vision boardy, but it's not about putting things down on paper to ask the universe for this person to show up. It is about being more strategic with the content that you make and realizing that you have to think about the listener, not yourself, when you are making a show. And when you don't have any listeners, you got to make them up because you still have to put your decisions through the prism of somebody else. So better that you have a kind of more fleshed out idea of who that person is rather than just kind of making decisions at random and seeing how you go. The more strategic you can be early on, the better your show will be by the time these people actually find you. And they will, I promise. Unless on your little list of things that your ideal listener has, some of the characteristics are lives on Mars, you're not going to make up somebody that doesn't exist that's never going to find your show. And it's more of an exercise than anything else, just to get you thinking differently and get you out of your own head and into somebody else's, so that you're thinking more about what people are on the receiving end of rather than what you are creating. Get your pen and paper out. Don't feel weird. It's all right. You don't have to tell anybody else that you're doing it. The only person that knows is me. But it will really help you to make decisions about your show that will benefit the content and make sure that those people that find you love what you do. If you want to share your ideal listener with me, then please head to podschoolpodcast.com and send me an email. Let me know who your person is, who you've decided to whip up on that little piece of paper, and let me know if you found the exercise helpful as well. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, it would be lovely if you left a little review and dotted a few of those stars on the review in iTunes or wherever you listen to the show. I'll see you next week, and until then, happy podcasting.
That's all for today.